Hello, everybody. Today we're going to make simple white vanilla cupcakes with a buttercream frosting. I am going to go over the ingredients of what we need first. While I go over that ingredients, why don't you kind of look at my table, see what equipment I have out, and listen as I go through the list of ingredients for equipment that you're going to need in order to make white sugar, 1/4 cup of butter, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3/4 a cup of all-purpose flour. That one equipment to come up with 3/4 of a cup. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 cup of papers. Here's my papers. You can use any type of paper, or if you have silicone, which are like a rubber, you can use that as well. All right, so we're preheating our oven to 350. I'm also going to ask my assistant if they can quickly get a cupcake for me that's already been cooked and cooled that is on the dining room table. Sorry, guys, kind of had to shift gears there for a minute. Okay, so I'm going to start by preheating my oven to 3 temperature, the oven. Okay, so 350. Then we are going to use cooking, even though and you're going to take your each one. Your muffin tin may have 12. Okay, mine just happens to have 6. If you want extra butter, remember creaming something together is usually the first step in baking. And butter needs to be at room temperature. And I'm using a stick of butter. Remember, a stick of butter has a half cup, or is a half cup, and we need 1/4 of that. So we need half of the stick. For this recipe total, you'll need 1 stick of butter, which again is equal to a half a cup. Okay, I need a half cup of white sugar. This is basic sugar. Okay, I'm going to get my beaters. If you have a stand, I'm using a beaters and a hand mixer because a lot of us just have this type. Okay, make sure they're in there. And then you're going to cream or under to get mixed totally into the sugar so that there are no large chunks of butter and there's no clumps or piles of white sugar. We want it all mixed. As far as speed, I am on the lowest setting. Okay, so that's what it looks like. All right, then we are going to beat in 1 egg. So we're and mix that. Again, I'm doing this on low speed. And for me, low speed just happens. Okay, you want to beat that for probably about 30 seconds to a minute, just so that it gets all mixed in and you don't see any bright yellow of the egg yolk or them any flavor you would like. If you have, where's my, looking for my Nagel. Okay, you can flavor it any flavor you like. I made some earlier that were almond flavored. These vanilla, and I need a teaspoon. Mix that in. That's about 15 seconds to mix that in. Very small bowl, extra bowl. I'm going to use this bowl. We're going to mix together the flour and the baking powder, and we're going to mix it up with a fork. Now, okay, so how am I going to measure 3/4 of a cup? I have a 1/4 cup, I have a 1/2 cup, and I have a 1 cup. Okay, so if we think about it, we can use the 1/4 3 times, or we can use the 1/2 cup once and the 1/4, and this will equal 3/4. My flour. Remember, we don't scoop flour. Even when it's a small amount, we want to make sure that we always spoon it when baking. And remember, flour builds gluten. Okay, so here is the 1/2. Now I'm going to put in the 1/4, and the 1/4 will make it a 3/4. Okay, and then baking powder. And baking powder out in some of our other recipes what we use baking powder for, what it does to a recipe. It helps it to, okay, so get a fork and mix this up. And we're mixing this up because you want to make sure that the baking powder gets evenly distributed. Okay, then we're going to dump this in. I'm going to mix that up. Again, on a low setting. And you mix it until the flour is combined. And it will be a thick dough texture at that point. And then the last thing we're doing is the milk. And we need 1/4 of a cup of milk. Remember, we always want to do this on a flat surface at eye level. And we want to make sure that it is exact. And then mix that for about a minute till it is completely mixed in and you've gotten all the flour mixed in, the milk. I'm going to rinse these really quick because I'm going to use these for my frosting. Okay. All right. Then what you're going to do, you're going to get your cupcake pan, your muffin tin. Whoopsie. Blew away. I got more. I have the window open because it got hot in this kitchen. Okay. And then we're going to use 2 spoons. And you're going to fill the cupcakes about 1/3 of the way full. And then you'll go back and fill in any extra space if you have extra batter. I put a little too much in that one. Okay, so I'm going to fill this in. My oven is preheated. It has been on for more than 15 minutes. It may also, if you have an electric oven, it may beep at you when it's ready. Okay, now take the spoon and kind of swirl it around in place to try and get a flat surface. Okay. And then we are going to bake those for 20 minutes at 350. Okay, now to test that they are done, you are going to take a toothpick and you're going to insert it into the middle of one of the cupcakes and pull it out. Okay, if it is completely clean, that means your cupcakes are done. If it comes out and has a little bit of cake sticking to it, you may have to cook them an additional 3 to 5 minutes. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to put these in the oven in a bit, is the icing. Okay, so for the icing, we are going to need what is called shortening. Okay, we're going to need 1/4 cup of shortening. 1/4 cup of butter. Okay, and shortening, you guys, is vegetable oil. Okay, it is the same thing in, I lost my apron, or I mean my towel. It's the same thing that's in vegetable oil. It's the same thing as vegetable oil that's liquid. We are just using it as a solid. All right, so in a bowl, you are going to cream again, so mix together the shortening and the butter. Now, you can't frost your cupcakes until they have cooled at least 30 minutes. Okay, I let them cool a little bit longer unless they're in the draft like they are right here by the window. All right, I increased my speed so that I can really get this mixed together well. So I just increased it to the next step up from slow. So the next step up from 1. Okay, then I need a teaspoon of vanilla. Now you can use different flavoring again for the frosting. If you were going to make chocolate, though, you'd have to look up a chocolate recipe because you'd have to use cocoa powder and that you can't just add cocoa powder to this recipe. You would need to look at one. Okay, so there is the vanilla extract. Gonna mix that up really quick. Then it says gradually add sugar, 1 cup at a time. We are going to put in 2 cups of confectioner's sugar. Now, confectioner's sugar is powdered sugar. All right, so it is regular white sugar, just ground up quite a bit. Okay, now, you want to spoon this. I'm just using another little scoop to spoon it, okay? Because it packs in like flour. If we were in class, we would be sifting the sugar because we would be using decorating tips, but I don't have any of those at home. So we are just going to do regular old household frosting. Okay, you want to mix in as much of the powder as you can into the shortening and butter mixture. Okay, that's 1 cup. Now I'm going to add in a 2nd cup. Now, if you wanted to color this, you would put food coloring in it. I am all out of my food coloring. It's actually at school. So mine is just going to be white, but you would put in a couple of drops until you reach the desired color that you would like. Okay, this is my 2nd cup. Now it's going to get really, really dry, and you're going to think that you messed up. Okay, but that's the type of texture you want before you add in the milk. Okay, the milk is the last thing that we add in. I'm just going to try and mix this up as much as it will. Okay, and now we need 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of milk. So I'm going to start with a tablespoon first. Okay, 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon. And mix. And then you want to mix it until it's the consistency that you want for your frosting. If it's too thick, you can add in a teaspoon at a time of the milk, but don't add more than 3. And then the icing is this consistency. Okay, and then you're going to take your cupcake. I'm going to get I have a little spatula. You can use a knife. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and frost the top. Okay, we kind of go around in a circle, getting the frosting even. And again, these need to cool for at least a half hour before you can frost them, or the frosting will melt off. So that is your cooking lab for simple white cupcakes and buttercream frosting. I will wait for my assistant to come and turn me off.
Yeah.
Thank you.